Thanks for tuning in to the Urban Scope podcast. I'm back with more hip hop news that kind of intersects um with rock music. Gene Simmons, member of Kiss rock group, made comments saying that Hall of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame should not include hip hop. And I know he said other genres too, but I'm addressing hip hop specifically because that's what I know specifically. And this is a hip hop podcast primarily. Um, So one of the things I thought about, like just looking at Gene Simmons's history, which I thought at first they said Richard Simmons, rest in peace, Richard Simmons. Um, I thought he made those comments, but Gene Simmons, like I said, he's not somebody in the media that I usually see because I'm not intertwined into that rock and roll world or listen to any of Kiss's music. But I was told that they don't have a lot of music that relate to the younger people. It's more older people, it's more outdated music, and of course, Gene Simmons, I believe he's like 76 and is pretty much in his doldrums at this point, very pretty much fading out, as far as style goes, um, but he made these comments as if well, it pretty much reaffirmed that he doesn't have any soul or style, because to say rap music shouldn't be included in a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which he doesn't have any say so over, is kind of bush league. It's very it comes off of as a way, and it's easy to say that way where how he comes off, so I won't even address it, but, just for a little history lesson for him. Well, he's not even top 20 in his own genre. Like, when I look at the list of top rock and roll groups and music, he's not in the top 20 or his group Kiss. I don't know anybody that's a Kiss fan for one, but I know a lot of people that are fans of, rap groups and rap artists that are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Um, and it's kind of, like I said, off-putting that he said rap music shouldn't belong in the Hall of Fame, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, because black people invented rock music. When you go back to Chuck Berry and all of those pioneers that started rock music back in the day, but it's one of those things like baseball. Like, blacks were very good in baseball starting off, but then the game got very slow. So a lot of people went to basketball and football and things like that. Same as country music. Black people were one of the pioneers of country music, but we got more style and got more grace and went to hip hop and R&B and gospel and things like that. So a lot of things that we invented, we kind of veered away from, and I kind of regret that we did because now people are acting like they invented it. So with the rock and roll music, it's very uh, apropos, I should say, that it's one of those things that blacks were very good at and just left, and then left it to others, and then thought and made it as theirs, and forgot our history. So just a history lesson: black people helped started rock and roll, helped start country music, helped started things like baseball. But of course, we went to other things because we just had a new interest, and things became too slow in that area. So Gene Simmons knows these things, but of course, he's not going to mention those things, but his comments are indicative of what the time that we're living in today, about just the discriminatory practices and racial practices that we have today. So it's no different, because you can't convince me a group like Run DMC doesn't belong in a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame of what they've done with like groups like Aerosmith and things like that, and the trends they set with the Adidas, and the Walk This Way is a classic hit with Run DMC and Aerosmith, and what they were able to do. The Beastie Boys, of their influence in the rock and roll culture, not just hip hop but rock and roll as well. Outkast, the instruments that they played and the instrumentation that they had in their music. Uh, Groups like NWA, all of these groups are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and deservingly so, because their impact not just in hip hop, because rock and roll music, and it's no different. Because he was saying like, well, we can't be in the Rap Hall of Fame. I don't think it's really one, but I'm pretty sure they would add those in if they can intersect those two worlds, because Nelly does a lot of songs with country artists, and a lot of country artists, which I'll talk about now, are kind of going to hip hop guys to kind of create a new sound and get a new fan base and intersect those two worlds and just have that crossover effect. The crossover effect is real. So Gene Simmons' comments are kind of outdated because a lot of things are crossing over now into two different worlds. There's a lot of mashup, especially country and rap mashups, and a lot of that is credit to back in the days with Run DMC, or you even go to Nelly had a huge impact as far as country music and rap because a lot of times in these major cities we might grow up in the inner city like Memphis or Nashville, but then you can't really escape country music because a lot of places you go for shopping and things like that might have country music in it. So there's a huge country music influence in the inner cities, whether we know it or not, or we pay attention to it. You might be at Walmart and hear it, and then hear a song that you like. So a lot of this stuff is influential on us, whether we know it or not, or and vice versa. Some of these, suburban kids might go to a sporting events and hear a lot of this rap music and they're influenced by it and they like these songs because the songs are the songs. So whether you're not a big fan of the genre, it should be a song that you like in it. And if you don't like it, then you just hate the people, which is a whole nother story. Uh, like I said, every genre has a song that you will like or some kind of connection that you can make to it, whether you from that world or not. Because I like a lot of country, well, not a lot. I like some country music, and I'm not from rural area or grew up on a farm or ever been on a farm or anything like that. But some parts of the music you can relate to regardless of the situation. So, um, I mean, to say all of that is just to say hip hop sets the culture for the most part, and black set the culture. So, as far as style and grace, and hip hop is all about that. It's about culture and the way you dress, the way you rap, the way you talk, and everything like that. It's not uniformity like, for example, country music. Every artist has to have that country twang when they sing and stuff like that. Hip hop artists, different voices, different sounds, different styles sonically it's different, the production's different, there's different subgenres all over the place. So rock and roll is pretty much has a uniformity. You have to have a guitar and you have to have the loud screaming, yelling vocals, which is cool. But there's not a lot of individuality into it. There's a lot of individuality in hip hop, and it doesn't get enough credit for that because mostly it's urban based. But when you think about the youth setting tones and the youth setting the cultures, that's mostly because of hip hop music. Look at an artist as big as Taylor Swift. She was swag surfing, was an old dance from like '08 that we had. And the youth just got a hold of it, a couple of years ago. Taylor Swift was doing a dance based off hip hop principles. When you look at the video game Fortnite, all of those dances are from hip hop culture, stolen from hip hop culture, because we set the culture. Uh, you know, the Snoop Dogg influence, Eminem influence, Kanye West, not the Kanye now, but the Kanye of old had people wearing the college dropout shirts, still in college, people dropping out of college, had people embracing the culture of hip hop from the crossover effect that he had with the pop music that he had with rap, but still giving you conscious rap at the same time. A very unique skill set that he still set set back then. So a Kiss or a Gene Simmons can't say that. They don't have that cachet. They don't have that crossover ability. They don't have that style and grace, that soul. They don't have the juice. They don't have any of that stuff. So the comments that he's made is come from an envious place, I believe, because he never set a trend like that. He was never that guy in his era, or never his guy in his own genre or subgenre for that matter. Um, a group like Nirvana only put out like 3 albums and they still are ranked higher than Kiss, way above Kiss. So it's all about influence, and influences everything. And Kiss and Gene Simmons definitely never had that influence. Because influence comes from hip hop and it comes from the souls of black people, which Gene Simmons has never had and never will. So it's all about sports, money, entertainment. I mean, music entertainment, and hip hop brings all of those things because it brings in the youth and it brings in just the people together, whether they know it or not. So anytime you see Taylor Swift, you know, um, you know, kind of swagger jacking hip hop stuff, or kind of stealing from culture, it's just apropos because that's what happens. You see artists like a Bailey Zimmerman or Morgan Wallen or even Post Malone stealing from hip hop culture or borrowing from hip hop culture. because they know it's the trendy thing to do. It's the thing to get them lit. It's the thing that gets them in the spotlight. It gets them eyes on them, because country music alone won't do that. You need something with soul, and you need something with where the youth is, and that is where hip hop is. So Gene Simmons has no credibility to say that rap doesn't belong in a rock and roll Hall of Fame. Tell me what your thoughts are about this. Until next time, I'll see you next time.